I'm 42, male, and work as a real estate agent. My life has always been a balancing act between work and home, but I've managed well enough. Or so I thought. I married my wife, 39, about 15 years ago, and we have 2 kids. On the surface, things look fine, routine arguments, nothing unusual. But as they say, the devil is in the details. It all started a few months back when I noticed something odd about one of my properties. I own a modest commercial building downtown, a rental property that's been steady income for years. One day, I received an email from my tenant, a kind older gentleman who runs a family-owned bookshop. He mentioned that the new owner of the building was pressuring him to renegotiate the lease. New owner? That didn't make sense. I hadn't sold anything. Confused, I asked for details. He forwarded me a scanned copy of a document, a sales agreement bearing my name, signature, and everything. My stomach sank. It looked perfect, except for one glaring fact. I didn't sign it. I confronted my wife that evening. The moment I mentioned the property, her face turned pale. She avoided eye contact, suddenly busying herself with folding laundry. "Do you know anything about this?" I asked, holding up the document. She hesitated, then mumbled something about not knowing. But her voice wavered. I pressed harder. Finally, she broke. "I needed the money," she admitted, her voice sharp with defensiveness. "You never listen to me when I say we're struggling. The house, the kids' tuition, it's too much. So, yes, I sold it. For us? For us?" I was dumbfounded. "You forged my signature. That's a felony." I snapped. Her response? "It's not like you'd miss it. You always act like it's your money, your properties. I just wanted what's fair." Fair? She had crossed the line, and she knew it. The next day, I sought legal advice. I explained the situation to my lawyer, who grimly confirmed that forging my signature to sell property was not just unethical, it was criminal. We filed a case against the buyer and my wife. It was messy, but the law was clear. The sale was fraudulent. Of course, my wife didn't go down without a fight. She tried to justify her actions to anyone who would listen, friends, family, even our kids. Her narrative? That I was some controlling husband who hoarded money and ignored his family's needs. She even went as far as suggesting that she deserved the property because she had been stuck with me for so long. To make matters worse, she attempted to delay proceedings by claiming she had acted under duress. She painted me as abusive and controlling. It was like watching someone rewrite our entire marriage. I didn't back down. I gathered every shred of evidence to prove her lies. Bank statements showing shared finances, text messages discussing our expenses, and even testimony from mutual friends who knew her tendency to overspend. My lawyer was relentless, dismantling her claims one by one. Then came the final blow. During the discovery phase, we unearthed something shocking. This wasn't her first time pulling a stunt like this. Years ago, she had taken out a secret loan in my name, which I unknowingly paid off. It explained so much: missing funds, unexplained debts. When confronted, she admitted to it but brushed it off as a one-time mistake. That was enough for the judge to see a pattern of deceit. During the trial, the buyer, a shady real estate investor, tried to claim innocence. He argued that he didn't know about the forgery. But under scrutiny, his story fell apart. Turns out he'd been working with my wife behind the scenes, even coaching her on how to forge my signature. The emails we uncovered between them sealed his fate. The judge declared the sale void and ordered the buyer to return the property. He also fined him heavily for his involvement in the fraud. My wife, meanwhile, wasn't so lucky. She was charged with forgery, fraud, and breach of trust. Her lawyer tried to plead for leniency, citing her role as a mother. But the judge wasn't swayed. He sentenced her to community service, probation, and restitution. She was ordered to repay every penny she had taken from the sale.
The fallout was nuclear. Word spread quickly within our social circles, and the humiliation was palpable. Friends who once admired her charm now distanced themselves. My kids, confused and hurt, asked difficult questions I didn't have easy answers for. "Why did Mom do it?" my son asked one night, his voice trembling. I didn't know what to say, so I told the truth. Sometimes people make bad choices because they think it's the only way. But it's never okay to hurt others in the process. The divorce was inevitable. I filed shortly after the trial ended. She tried to negotiate, insisting on keeping the house and demanding alimony. Her sense of entitlement was staggering. Even after everything, she acted like she was the victim. Her arguments in court became increasingly desperate. She claimed she had sacrificed her career for the family and deserved compensation. My lawyer shredded her arguments with cold, hard facts. She had worked a day in over a decade and spent most of her time on personal luxuries. The court sided with me. She got nothing. Not the house, not the property, and certainly not a cent of alimony. The judge emphasized that her actions had betrayed the trust fundamental to any marriage. Her attempts to manipulate the system had backfired spectacularly. But her entitlement didn't end there. She tried one last dirty trick, filing for custody of the kids, claiming I was unfit as a father because of my obsession with money. It was laughable, considering she had almost destroyed their financial security. I fought back with everything I had: character witnesses, parenting records, and even letters from my kids themselves. The court saw through her ploy and granted me primary custody. She was given visitation rights, but only under strict supervision. With the legal battles over, I focused on rebuilding my life. The property was back in my name, and I made sure to secure my assets more carefully moving forward. The bookshop tenant, who had stood by me throughout, thanked me profusely for not letting his livelihood get swept up in the chaos. The satisfaction of seeing justice served was bittersweet. My marriage was over, and my kids were still grappling with the fallout. But I felt a strange sense of clarity. My wife's betrayal had forced me to confront some uncomfortable truths about the people we trust and the lengths to which entitlement can drive someone. The lessons were harsh, but invaluable. Trust is fragile, and boundaries matter, even with those closest to you. And sometimes, standing up for yourself isn't just about reclaiming what's yours. It's about setting an example for others, especially your kids, about accountability and integrity. If you stuck around till the end, hit that subscribe button. Because if you thought this was wild, wait till you hear the story about how my brother tried to sue me over a family heirloom. Trust me, you don't want to miss it.